Welcome to class. Let's start feet hip width apart and parallel on the mat. Hands on your hips. And we're going to begin with some calf raises. So we're just lifting the heels and lowering the heels. We're going to take these first few repetitions to try and find the connection of our toes into the mat and the floor underneath us. So as we send our heels up, our toes have to press down. Try and keep your big toe on the ground. So your big toe leads this calf lift. It pushes down into the floor. The inner thighs lift, the low tummy lifts, the breastbone lifts. And we try to go a little bit higher each time, feeling that work going into your calf and starting to feel a little bit tired perhaps. Breathe in as you lift. Breathe out as you lower. And we're going to do as many as it takes to create a decent amount of burning through your calf muscle. So I've got a little bit of burning at the moment, and I'm probably thinking maybe 5 more. Ooh, losing my balance now, talking too much. Let's have 4. And 3. 2. And on this last one, we're going to stay elevated. So those heels are going to go up and they're going to stay there. Push a little bit harder into your toes. See if you can get an extra ½ centimeter of lift. And then we're going to do a little running motion or padding motion through the toes. So the heels are still high. We're just sending the knee forward and bringing it back. It's a small knee bend just to get a little bit more movement in your calf at this end range and challenge your balance a little bit. You can put your hands wherever you want. If they need to be out to the side to help with your balance, that is completely fine. 4. And 3, 2, and 1. Heels go all the way back down. Give yourself a little knee bend to release the tension out of those calves. And then you're going to take your right foot out behind you and push the heel right down onto the floor. And then from there, it's another calf raise, but this time out behind you. So instead of pushing the body up, we feel now that we're sending ourselves forwards. And it feels like the Achilles tendon tensions a little bit and the calf contracts. And I'm just improving the strength and the blood flow in my lower leg. Let's have 4 more. And 3, 2, last 1. Okay, so from this stepped back position, we're now going to calf raise like we just did, and then continue all the way through into a knee lift, and then push the leg out behind us again. So where you put your hands is up to you. You can have them out to the sides if you think that helps with balance, or you can keep them on your hips, or you can cross them over your chest. Just find a position that works well for you today. And we're going to go from this back step through to a knee float and then back out behind us. Dynamic and challenging to help with your balance. Let's have 4 more. I can actually feel this in my standing foot. The sole of my foot, the muscle is working quite hard. 3, 2, wobbly leg today. And last 1. Let's put that foot right back down underneath our hip. We're back to this hip width apart and parallel. The knee bend and straighten. We're going to make it a double knee bend and straighten. Double knee bend and straighten. And then on that knee bend, we're going to let our arms swing. So as the legs straighten, the arms go up to the ceiling. And as they do their knee bend, we do a pendulum arm swing. Just like that. There is a breath that goes with it. We have an exhale and an inhale as we reach up. Exhale as we swing. Inhale as we reach. Okay, this one is for your ankles and your knees. I'm really trying to get those ankles to soften and bend a little bit so that we can improve the range of motion in our ankle joint. Two more like this. And last one, reaching up and then bringing your arms all the way back round and down onto your hips, and we step back with our left foot. Push the heel down into the ground. Feel the calf stretch. And then calf raises off that back leg. So I'm pushing my big toe down into the ground. I'm trying to get some folding at the toe joint as my heel lifts. And as I place my heel back down again, I'm lengthening my Achilles tendon. Let's have 4 more. And 3, 2, and 1. And we carry on with this motion. So we do another one. And we go right through into the knee lift. And then the foot comes back down. And we lift back up. And the foot comes back down. So foot pressing down into the floor. Inner thigh lifting. Low tummy lifting. Breastbone lifting. Lots of lift creates good balance. It also helps if you fix your eyes onto some point out in front of you. 4 and 3. This side feels much better. And 2, better not speak too soon. And last one. And then we're going to put that foot right back down underneath our hip. And again, give our knees a little shake, a little bend. And we're going to have a wide stance with the feet turned out. And a squat, which feels a little bit like a dancer's plie. So we're pulling the knees wide and dropping the pelvis down, trying to keep our body upright. Warming up the hip joint. And then we'll have 4 more like this. And 3. And 2. And last one. And then heel toe walking back in until your feet are underneath your hips. Both arms go up to the ceiling. And then they circle around, rotate in the socket so that the backs of the hands can come to the small of your back. If you can see my reflection in the mirror behind me, you'll see how my hands are low down on my low back, so they're not too high up. I'm making sure they're right down there on that low back space. Then I bring my arms up and the palms of my hands come to the back of my head. And then we're just going to repeat that, rotating the arms so the backs of the hands come to the low back. And then rotating the arms so the palms of the hands come to the back of the head. Off we go again. And as your hands meet your low back, I want you to try and bring your intestines towards your hand. So you're drawing your intestines back. Rotate through the arm socket. And then rotate through the arm socket. Lots of these to help loosen off tight shoulders. And tight shoulders get tired quite quickly when we ask them to move around. So even though we're not holding a weight, it's quite normal to feel quite a bit of fatigue from this simple movement. Let's do a couple more. And then on this one, you're going to keep your right arm on your low back. and let your left arm go up and down on its own. And you're going to try and let your small intestine, or just your intestines, you don't have to be specific, draw back towards your hands. So there's different ways that you can cue this inside your own body. You can either let the bones of your low back move towards your hand, or you can feel your abdominal muscles draw back, or you can think about the guts moving back. Whichever one works best for you is the one you should use. We've got two more like this. And then we're going to swap that hand around. So this hand's going to touch the low back and stay there. And then the right arm is going to go on its own. And again, you're going to focus on your low back space, on the hand that you've placed there. You're going to try and draw your abdominals back towards your hand. Collarbone corners wide, breastbone lifted. Feel your arm roll through the socket as you move it around. We've got one more, and then this hand is going to finish behind your head. And then we're going to set both of the arms in motion at once. It's a coordination challenge. You really have to let the bone roll around the socket. So I end up looking off in all sorts of funny directions as my brain tries to grab hold of that internal sensation. So yeah, I'm quite well aware of the silly expression on my face. Inhale, exhale, big toes pressing down. Let's take some of our brain into our feet. Inner thighs lifting. Every time your low hand comes to your back, low tummy lifting. Back into the hand. We're nearly done. We've got two more. Here's your last one. You're going to keep your right hand behind your head. Bring your left arm up too. And then we've got some thoracic circles. So I'm going to clasp my hands and put them right on the back of my skull. And then I'm going to one side, flexing forwards, going to the other side, extending back. My pelvis stays upright. My low back stays upright. And I'm just moving the upper section of my spine. It feels a little bit like lungs moving forwards, lungs moving backwards, folding forwards, breastbone lifting as you extend. One more in this direction, and then we're going to change and go the other way. Off we go in the other direction. It feels like the lungs move forwards, the lungs move backwards. So as we flex, it feels a little bit like the lungs move forwards. And as we extend, it feels like the lungs move backwards. Or it can feel like as we extend, the breastbone lifts upwards. And as we flex, the breastbone softens. So you can think about this from whichever bit works best for you. We've got one more like this. Then we're going to finish off in the center. And here we have some straight flexion. Okay, so our hips are still staying upright, and so is our low back. And we're going to bring our chin to our chest and flex forwards. And then uncurl all the way back up to standing. And then lift the breastbone to the ceiling and extend. Flexing. And then upright. And then extending. And a couple more. Flexing forwards. And looking forwards. And extending and looking up. Let's have two more. And last one. And we're going to finish off upright, looking forwards. And we're going to reach those arms up to the ceiling, even though that's probably the last thing we want to do. And we're going to circle around and down, clasp your hands behind you, and pull back to pec stretch. Collarbones wide, shoulder blades sliding towards the spine. Hands floating up off your hips. A couple of deep breaths here. Okay, give your arms a little shake. We're going to do a roll down, but we're going to go down the right-hand side of our body. So we turn the torso a little bit so it faces that leg, and then bring your chin to your chest and roll yourself down over the right leg. And then from there, rolling all the way back up. Let's do that side one more time. Chin to chest, folding forwards. And then rolling all the way back up. Centering yourself, facing forward again, both arms go up to the ceiling. And then we have a tricep stretch. So you're going to bend one of your arms down, it doesn't matter which one. Grab the elbow and give it a pull. So I had a straight arm and I bent it down, and then I took the other arm and I pulled it in. I tried to hold myself upright and nudge my head back into my own arm. Let's swap that over. Both arms reach up, and then we bend the other one down. Hold on to the elbow and pull in. And then both arms go back up to the ceiling again. We circle around and down, and then we're rotating the body towards the other leg now, our left leg, and we're going to rotate, fold forwards, get my words right. So we're going to fold down over that leg. Trying to keep your body upright, so your hips upright. Make one mistake and then loads of mistakes follow. Keep your pelvis upright for as long as you can. There we go, that's better. And then folding forwards and then uncurling all the way back up to standing. And then we've got one more just like that. Chin to chest and fold. And rolling all the way back up, centering yourself. Both arms go up to the ceiling. Circle around behind you, clasp the hands and pull back again. Another pec stretch. Just taking a moment to center yourself. Find your feet underneath you. And then give your arms a shake. Put your hands on your hips and put all of the weight onto your left foot so that you can take your right foot and lift it and put it back down again. So you can have your hands on your hips if you want, or you could reach the other arm out as a counterbalance. This is my preference. I find it much easier to balance with one arm out to the side. So pick something that works well for you. And we're just trying to deal with the weightiness of that leg and loading that weight into the side of your hip. Let's have 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. And then the legs come back together. You bring them right together so that they're really close and touching. Feet touching, calves touching, knees touching, inner thighs touching. And then you're going to bend and straighten. It's a legs together squat. It's like the opposite of a side leg lift. Everything working the center line now. Again, it's up to you what you do with your arms. You can have them out in front if that helps with balance. Out to the side, I don't mind. Hands on hips makes it feel tidy. Whatever is your preference is fine. Let's have 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. Push yourself all the way back up to standing, and then separate the feet out, hip width apart, and put all of your weight on to your right foot so that your left leg feels free to lift. And then finding your preference for the balance arm. And we're working through the side of the hip. Try to find that sensation of weightiness, and then letting the side hip take that load and create lift. So 4 more. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring your legs back together. Give your legs a little shake. And then we're going to go into another roll down. I'm going to turn side on so that you can see what this roll down is going to look like. I'm going to bring my chin to my chest, roll myself down, and then let my arms dangle, make it feel like everything falls out the top of my head. And then I'm going to bend my knees and tuck my tailbone right under, and then push my legs straight. Bend my knees and soften. Push my feet and lift my sit bones. Bend and soften. Push and lift. Bend and soften. And push and lift. Let's do 2 more like this, and then we're going to come all the way down into 4-point kneeling for a cat stretch. So we have 1 more. And then when you bend your knees on this one, let's bend and come all the way down. And we're in 4-point kneeling. Wrists underneath your shoulders. Knees underneath your hips. And we're just going to begin with a cat stretch. You're going to round your spine. And then flatten it. So we're back into neutral. And then push through the hands, push through the knees. Lift the low back up into C curve. And then let it settle back down into neutral or flat back. So we're not going into any extensions. We're just going from cat stretch to flat back. We'll do a couple more. Tailbone under, head tucked in, eyes looking at your own tummy. And then flat back. Here's your last one, cat stretch. And flat back. Okay, so we're going to stay here and flat back. We're going to walk our hands out so that we form a diagonal from our knee to our shoulder. I've had to shuffle my knees back a little bit as well. So we've got half plank. Then keep your hands where they are and really reach your hips back into child's pose. It feels like a long reach if your hands are not allowed to come with you. And then we'll go forward again. We're in our half plank. The glutes come on, the hamstrings work too, and then we push back. And here we are in our child's pose. We've got 1 or 2 more like this, and then we're going to hold it out in our half plank. Oh, here we are. And we're going to bend our elbows just a little bit and then push them straight. And bend and push. 2 more and push. Last one and sit back. So we've got 2 more sets of that. 4 little push-ups and then a rest. Here we go again. Out into your half plank. And here's your 4 push-ups. 4, 3, 2, 1, and sit back. So if your arms are strong enough to do a deeper push-up, feel free to challenge yourself and drop your torso a little bit lower. But if your arms are not up for doing that, these little elbow bends are fine. Here's your last one. And we're sitting all the way back. And then we're going to come back into 4-point kneeling again. And we're going to go down to the forearms and back up to the hands. Down to the forearms, back up to the hands. We'll do 2 more like this, and then we'll lead off the other arm. So down, down, up, up. And then lead off the other arm. Down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. 2 more sets. Last one. And then you're going to come all the way down onto your forearms and stay there. And we're going to send our right leg out behind us. And then we're going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. Pushing down through your forearms. Pushing down through the inside edge of your knee. Trying to keep your back legs straight. And lifting enough times that we start to feel a bit of work showing up in the back of the legs. So let's have 4 more. And then we're going to hold the leg elevated. Two more. Last one, and we hold here. Hamstring curl, in and back out. Try to make sure that you keep pushing the ground. Heavy, heavy. Hands and forearms pushing down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it bent. And then we lift and lower. So we've got a donkey kick up to the ceiling. Four more. And 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, bring that working leg back underneath you, and then you're going to turn onto your side. The working leg stays the same. So for me, that's my right leg. I've got my head now either propped up or laying down, and I bend my knees in, heels touching, and now I've got oysters. So that top leg was the one that was just working hard in that previous exercise. And I'm keeping my heels together. They're ever so slightly lifted. And I'm trying to line my body up. Heels, hips, heart, head. Maybe that's a bit better. I like to inhale as my knee opens. Exhale as it closes. Let's have 4 more. And 2. And 1. Bring the legs back together. And then you're going to lay down on your back. So you have to shuffle over a little bit. It's just been working. It's going to cross itself over the other one. Have a little stretch. Now we're going to leave our legs up in tabletop and put our hands behind our head. Try and straighten myself up on the mat here. Okay, nice wide elbows. And we've got an ab prep. So we're lifting the head and shoulders and lowering back down. My legs are squeezing together all the way from the foot to the inner thigh. And I'm going to inhale and exhale. Trying to let the lengthening spine on the inhale lift me higher. If you don't like this breath, you can just breathe out or in whenever you feel like it. I find it useful to inhale as I lift my head and shoulders, because it helps to lengthen my spine and encourage me to lift a little bit higher. As your head and shoulders lift, let your intestines drop. So it feels like lungs to the sky, intestines to the floor. Let's have 4 more. And 3. And 2. And last 1. And lower yourself all the way back down. Give your knees a little hug. And then you'll bring your feet down, you'll lean to the side, and you'll push yourself up to seated. Take your legs out in front of you, the width of your mat. Arms reaching in the same direction. We've got a spine stretch forward. And then we're going to uncurl all the way back up. And off we go again. And uncurl all the way back up. If it feels stressful to hold your arms up this high, it is completely fine to have them down towards the floor, fingertips tracing the root across the ground. If you can hold them up, then maybe do so. Let's have 2 more. And back up, and here's your last one. Folding forwards. Uncurling all the way back up. And then letting your arms rest down, bring your legs back together. We're going to send our legs around behind us. And we're back in 4-point kneeling. We're going to send our left leg out behind us now. Find my space on the mat. Bring our forearms down. And then we've got that straight leg, lift and lower. So as I lift my leg up, I'm trying to form this really long diagonal line from my head, through my torso, through my hips, up to my heel. I'm breathing in on the lift and out as my leg lowers. Let's have 4 more. And 3. And 2. And then last one, and hold that leg up. And now we've got hamstring curls, pulling in and sending out. We'll have a couple more. Well, actually, that's a lie. It's more than a couple. We'll have another 2 from here. And then we're going to hold the next one, ready to do a donkey kick. And then we push that to the ceiling and lower back down. Four, and 3, and 2. So this is my left leg. That's my working leg. Last one. Bring the left leg underneath you. Lay on your side so your left leg is on top. You can prop your head up or leave it lying down flat. Heels are together. And now we've got oysters, opening and closing. The top hand pressing down into the ground. Heels hovering. And then Let's do an alignment check. We're thinking heels in line with hips, in line with your heart, in line with your head. And see if you can tidy all of that up a little bit. Let's have 4 and 3 and 2 and last one. Legs coming together and then onto your back. And then we're going to take that left leg, cross it over and pull in for a stretch. Okay, let's place the feet on the mat underneath the knees. Legs should be hip width apart and parallel. Arms by your sides. And then we're going to do a pelvic tilt to start with. So we're bringing the back edge or the belt edge of your pelvis down towards the mat. And as it rolls back towards the mat, your low back will follow. Waking up the backs of your legs. Let's have 2 more. And then on the next one, we're going to lift into a shoulder bridge. So we've got our pelvic tilt first, and then we push down through the feet and lift the hips up. And then uncurl all the way through the spine, bone by bone by bone, all the way back down again. Let's do that again. A small pelvic tilt, a strong push of the feet, glutes, upper hamstrings, and the hips are up. Uncurl all the way back down. And up you go again. And back down. Let's have 2 more, and then we're going to hold it up at the top. Okay, so here we are holding on this one. If your back feels happy with the idea of lifting one leg at a time, you'll press down firmly with one foot and lift the other one into tabletop and put it back down and swap around. Press firmly with one foot and lift the other leg. Press firmly with one foot and lift. So the foot that's on the floor is the most important part. It has to push the ground, to push you stable, and to push you up. Let's have 4 more. And 3, and 2, and 1. Feet come down, spine comes down, bone by bone. And bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug and feel free to rock the knees in a bit or from side to side, whatever feels right for your own body. And then when you're ready, you'll let your feet come back down and we're going to roll over onto your front 4-point kneeling, toes tucked in, then sit back into a shell stretch or the best version you can with your toes tucked under. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Let the soles of your feet come down onto the ground. Push your feet down, lift your hips up. Here we are in a forward bend. Roll all the way back up to standing. Give yourself a moment to find your stability and your balance. And then we're going to challenge it to finish by leaning onto the big toes and pushing them down and lifting the heels up, holding the balance, lifting the arms up, circling your arms around and down, let your heels come back down to the ground, add a shoulder roll, and give your arms a shake to finish. Well done. Thank you for joining me this week. I'll see you next week. Bye now.